Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Uh, Great.
Great.
Just great.
Just great.
Just great.
Good. Um, so it's we're just recording off the back of TGS, and so whenever Tokyo Game Show's on, there's always a couple showcases. Even today, as of when we recorded, and I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out, so there'll be no pressure to kind of fold this one into the episode. But Kojima's put up a Death Stranding 2 trailer today. It's been out in Japanese. I believe it's going to make its it will, because it's Kojima. It will make its way out in English soon enough, and hit the YouTubes, and people will be able to check that out themselves. But there's
YouTubes.
the YouTubes.
Sounds so old when I just say, get on the YouTubes.
Got to lean into it. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff coming out, but we're going to focus today specifically on both PlayStation and Xbox's TGS presentations. So PlayStation had a state of play. Xbox had a TGS presentation, whatever they wanted to call it. But anyway, I can't remember what they called it actually. Did they even call it?
It was just a Tokyo
Game Show presentation.
Okay, so there was nothing fancy.
So we'll start with PlayStation, because I think that's where the majority of our episodes kind of stem from. We'll kind of wheel through all the different announcements. I don't know what you're referring to, Matto, but I've just got my own handiwork on the Player 2 website, which has got all the games in the order.
Where else would I go? What other source outlet I would go to?
Best place for video game coverage there is.
No
Player
one.
2.
That's why. You know why I would go to no one else? Because they're all being shut down.
Well, that's a good point too.
Unfortunately.
Us here, the money just comes out of Matt Houston's pocket, and for as long as he can keep doing that, we're golden. So
that's so bad. That just
it sounds so bad when you put it. We make a little bit back.
Hey, Matt, we got this thing. Hey, buddy, thanks.
Thanks, mate. You got us covered? Yeah, great. All right, we'll go through all the different announcements. It began with a little showcase from Astrobot, which I know you haven't played yet.
No.
In this week alone, I've gone and played that game and then platinumed it last night. Really good game. All the hype, definitely right up there. Worth it. But they announced that there's some DLC coming. There's some outfits for Astrobot from Stellar Blade, from Helldivers. There's more that they didn't declare. There's going to be a whole bunch of speedrun levels they're going to get added. It's kind of the first wave of content, because they did also reference along the way that there's going to be more to come. What do you think of all things? So I was going to say Helldivers, Astrobot. Considering you haven't actually played it yet, was this interesting to you? Is it a game that you plan on playing at some point?
Not anytime soon. But I just laugh at it because I just said the Helldivers, just little, what do you call them, mascots? Do we call them mascots? Or
Helldivers, divers?
Bots? I don't know what you call them. But I just laughed at that and went, it's Helldivers. I was just, instead of just looking, I was just pointing on, I know that. Don't know what that is. I was trying to figure out if it was Stellar Blade or not, because they didn't necessarily say. Because I wasn't sure if Stellar Blade was a PlayStation exclusive game or not.
It is currently.
Because of Xbox.
And will probably remain that way at this point. It feels like PlayStation's working pretty hard to nail that to the platform. But I think it's going to come to PC. But at this rate, I don't feel like we'll see it on Xbox or Nintendo or anything. But yeah, I was pretty happy with what was there. Keen to see more. Next up was a game from... actually, it's kind of... There's a range of different developers. They've worked on a whole bunch of different things, but as kind of a pattern of behavior for some of these developers, it kind of has a bit of a Tim Burton kind of feel. The Midnight Walk coming to PS5 and PSVR 2. What do you think?
Like you said, the visual style, very interesting.
The claymation.
It's also very claymation, but it's also very interesting too that we have a PS5 normal version and VR at the same time. Because usually you get the VR side of things way later down the track, but we've gone side by side with VR and just, your regular gameplay, which is good, because I think they're really trying to get into that, revive the VR2, something that they've, let's be honest, ignored ever since it got released.
Well, one of the best things they can do to save that platform, going back to Astrobot, is take Astrobot Rescue Mission from the original PSVR, which is like a 10. It's arguably even better than the one that's just come out, and remaster that for PSVR 2. That'd be a huge shot in the arm. But PlayStation doesn't seem to want to support it. They just want to rely on other games. So anyway, Yeah, I think that's pretty cool that it's coming day and date to PSVR. I think I'll probably check it out that way. It looks like a really cool game. Um, Look, I don't know if they're going to go for too much of the spooks. Then maybe I'll jump out of VR because I'm not too keen on having shit jump in my face while I'm in a VR headset and then could trip over a coffee table and all sorts. But the premise seems pretty cool, and yeah, that claymation style looks great. So I'm all in. Next up is the awkwardly named Hell Is Us. What'd you think?
Didn't really care. I just thought, oh look, another what I would call looks like, don't know if it is,
Souls like.
Souls like, and I'm just going, nah.
Yeah, I got the same vibe.
I've
But
played
it
many
was kind of
Soul
cool that
type
it's kind of
games.
Souls like crossed with a bit of horror. For me, it was kind of Silent Hill was the thing I feel like I was noticing specifically when it came to horror sort of stuff. And then, hints of Death Stranding as well. So I was interested in it, but unless they go down a similar sort of path to what Stellar Blade did in terms of Stellar Blade's like a Souls like as well, but they did the difficulty modes like a Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order or Survivor. If they go down that path, then sure, maybe I'm in. But if they don't, it's just another game that I ignore.
And then all the dickheads are gonna come out and complain, going, "Oh, learn to play it on hard and
good,
all
you
this
scrub."
shit." Screw you and your, what is it? Accessibility
Yeah.
stuff. Like, go away.
Back to some PSVR 2 then. Metro Awakening, which had been announced previously. Now it has a November 7th release date. And they said PSVR, but I believe it's coming to all VR platforms. I think I don't know if it's day and date, but I'm pretty sure it's all coming to. Sorry, it's coming to all other platforms as well. Any thoughts? Do you have much love for Metro at all?
Never played it. I did
Yeah.
win all 3 games in an Xbox core machine
Oh, really?
many, many years ago, and I have not touched them. I've not even entered the codes in. So I don't even know if the codes are still valid because some of those things I think expire. I don't
Do you
know.
know where they are?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that could be a cool exercise between now and next week, and you can report back to us. But no good.
Might have an idea where they are. But, actually, I could. I might know where they are.
Well, get back to us on that one.
It's a long haul if I know where it is.
For me, again, my worry around this is the fact that they're keeping things pretty claustrophobic and they're kind of leaning into some horror as well, which Metro's kind of always done. But by going back into the tunnels and keeping things pretty tight knit, they're going to lean into the horror a little bit. I don't know if I'm crazy about that idea in a VR headset for the same reason I was talking about when it comes to the Midnight Walk before. So we'll see. We'll see. Next game is an MMO of some sort, I think. Arcade Chronicles. I believe the first game was an MMO of some sort, but I don't know. What'd you think of it though?
Looked nice, but same again. I don't know if I want to play it. It just something just looks at me and goes, "Is that another Souls-like game?" It's probably not, but
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to go down the
don't know.
Souls-like path in this one, but
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really sell me. That's all I can say. It's just looked at it and went, "Oh yeah, cool. Another fantasy
fantasy
based
RPG of some sort.
RPG of some sort." It's not like we've seen many of them.
Yeah, not just in this showcase alone. For me, it looks kind of cool, but yeah, I want to see more. And if it is an MMO, that probably pushes me out. Whereas if it's more like a Destiny or Division style kind of instanced and kind of MMO light style thing, more like the shared world experience rather than a full blown MMO, maybe I could get into it. But we'll see. Next up is Palworld. It was basically and it's available now for PlayStation. Interestingly, not in Japan because Nintendo is currently putting up a patent lawsuit against the Palworld developers. So the release in Japan is off the table for now. But didn't stop them from launching in the West where they're going to make a shit ton of money. And they've already made a shit ton of money. I don't know about you. I couldn't have cared less, really.
Nah.
And with Nintendo doing its thing, I'm probably not going to invest in the game anytime soon because I'm just like, it could be only a matter of time before it gets ripped off the shelves or something like that anyway. So, which I guess would be then interesting in a Concord kind of way. But
oh yes.
But even then, they revoke Concord off your PSN as well, so off your store, off your account too. The only way you can have Concord is if you bought physical and didn't return it. So
Yeah, who's buying a physical these days? Smart people. That's
Smart
who.
people in this case.
Yes.
Next up is one that I feel like I can probably just ignore your thoughts entirely on this one.
Oh,
The
go
Luna
ahead.
Remastered Collection, a couple classic RPGs from kind of that PS1 era. I really enjoyed Luna Silver Star Story. I didn't play Luna 2, but I really enjoyed the first one. Cool it's being remastered. Didn't have it on my bingo card, that's for sure, though. Great release, but yeah, I know you've got nothing to say, so we'll move on to some Shredder's Revenge, TMNT. There's a DLC that's coming for it. I played the game earlier in the year. Have you had a go at it at all?
No.
Look at. Oh, go on. Sorry, you were going to say something.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
I mean, it's cool that it's getting some new DLC, but otherwise, I don't know. Feels like a bit late to add anything to it. Unless they're going to. I know it was available through Game Pass. Unless they're going to pop it into the PSN, like PlayStation Plus extra tier or something like that, and then drop the DLC at the same time. That could be a way to get people playing it. But otherwise, whatever. I don't think this. It's probably a box that PlayStation just had to tick there in terms of agreements and deals and marketing. Just like the next one, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. Which, to be fair, Sonic Generations is a great game. It's one of the few good Sonic games. Even my son's kind of low-key interested at the moment, so we've dug out the PS3 version of the game. We're probably going to give it a crack sometime soon. But Keanu is actually in this DLC, though, which is kind of cool.
He's my favourite guy. Anything, if he's like, hey, Keanu, you want to just voice... What's his name? Shadow. Is it Shadow?
Yeah, Shadow.
Shadow. Do you want to do it in a game as well? You'd just be like, yeah. He's up for anything, old Keanu, and that's what I like about him.
He's an absolute legend, so... I don't know if it's going to get me playing the game at all. Especially considering it's kind of meant to tie in a little bit with the movie, and I haven't seen any of the movies, and I'm in no hurry to see any of the movies, really. But is what it is. Keanu is good, though, so people enjoy. Fantasia Neo Dimension, again, I know you won't have any interest in this one. It was, though, an Apple Arcade game, developed by like all the key figures responsible for Final Fantasy. It's coming across to consoles. That's good news. It's got a December 10th release date. That's good news. And they've even buddied up with Square Enix, who they kind of left and abandoned years ago. They've buddied up for publishing to get it onto the consoles. So there's no real bad elements to this, and I believe the game is also brilliant. I'm just curious to see how it kind of translates from the touch-based sort of stuff of the Apple Arcade to a real gaming machine.
A real gaming machine?
Yeah, that's right.
Real.
Fuck any of that mobile stuff. That said, to be fair, Apple Arcade stuff does support conventional controls as well. Any of those Apple Arcade games you can slap on a backbone or something like that, or remotely control whatever through Bluetooth, and you can have proper control, like button-based inputs, which is cool. But I'd rather play it on the big screen with all the updates and stuff that they've done. But anyway, that's that one. Next up, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this one, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. What do you think of the way they presented that game?
Well, they're not lying. One thing I was concerned when we first saw the first trailer earlier in the year. The one thing my thought was, where's the dragon?
We got the dragon. Two dragons.
We got the dragon. We got two dragons, and sort of more of a story. But nothing bad. Nothing bad. It's looking good. But my one problem is we still haven't seen anything of an open world situation yet. That's my one problem. Yes, you chose the combat, characters, dragons, all that stuff. But I want to see if there's an open world, or open exploring, I should say.
Yeah.
Like, if it's something like we said, if it's something like the old Mass Effect 1 to 3, not Andromeda, that can stay in the bin. If it's like anything like
Andromeda's
1 to 3,
better than everyone said. It's just a solid 7, and that's about
it's
it.
It's a Dragon
bad
Age
Mass Effect
Inquisition.
game.
It's Inquisition in space. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Because that's how there's some reason that's what they did. But if it's anything like Mass Effect 2 and 3, I'm only leaving one out because they got rid of the thing that was annoying in one, which was driving around on a planet with nothing to do. So if they go down that path, fine. But yeah, I don't know yet. I'm still not sold on it until October 31st.
Um, I so everything I've heard from people who've gone and actually played the game themselves has been overwhelmingly positive, and this sounds like BioWare's back. Then this demo comes along, and like they try and do a whole bunch of like strategic cuts through the clip with the actual encounter against the dragon. And when they would cut back to the gameplay, the like demoing with a mage is not a great way to demo a game either. I don't think. Like if that's the way you want to play, that's fine. But I don't think it presents very well when you're trying to demo it for people and show people what the game can be. Because certainly most people don't play that way, and it's very kind of hands off in a lot of ways in terms of you standing a long way away and not really engaging. Very strange decision. But then like they would cut away and cut back, and the way the character's fighting is pretty much the same. Like they weren't introducing a new element with every single time they cut back into the gameplay. It was sometimes, oh, okay, we've taken 10% of its health off. Let's come back, and now 25% of its health's gone. And what's happening? Oh, the same shit. Like it was a strange way to kind of demo that fight. The way it ended then was really cool, and I was really interested when this second dragon came along, and it seems like it's been corrupted, and that, like maybe that dragon, very Game of Thrones style, is now one of the kind of joined the other team sort of thing. Like that seemed really interesting, but
and then the question is who's that? And then who's that wizard lady as well?
Yeah,
with the dragons. Like, oh, who's she? I'm more interested in that than I was in that entire 3 minutes of combat that I watched.
Yeah,
I was more excited about that 30 seconds of dragon, then another dragon, then all your crew and all your army people getting vined up. I can't really remember now. It's just disappearing and dying, and I'm looking at it going, oh, that's interesting. Like, why can't you show me more of that instead of shitty? I'm not saying shitty, just repetitive.
Yeah, just poorly represented. I don't mind if that's exactly how the fight goes. Like, obviously without the cuts, but like, they could have shown less of the fight to make it look better as a result. So, anyway. Bad decision by BioWare or EA with the editing there. It feels like they're trying to sabotage the game a little bit with the way that they market this thing. But anyway. Next up is Alan Wake 2 and the Lake House DLC, which is going to come out in October. We don't have a specific date for it. We just know that it's coming out in October. What do you think?
So, are we finally getting the reverse of Control / Alan Wake crossovers by the looks of it?
Feels like it, yeah.
Feels like it. But no,
yeah, it feels like the reverse of the AWE DLC from Control.
No, I'm all for it. I've just got to play the other DLC as well. But, yeah. It's Alan Wake 2, so I'm all for it.
I'm all in. I think, through
the
deluxe edition, I think I already own it.
So all you have to do is put a label Alan Wake 2 across it. I'm sold. Just take my money.
And yeah, it just gives us another excuse for Sam Lake to come back on a stage somewhere down the line, potentially dance for us all, or sing and dance for us all. It's good times for everyone. But obviously they didn't show a hell of a lot. It looks like they're kind of trying to go even more horror-y with the way they kind of presented that trailer, but we'll see. Looks good. Keen to play it. Hitman World of Assassination. It already exists. Hitman 3 kind of became that, and it's kind of folded in 1 and 2, and now it's got a PSVR 2 mode. I've heard that the VR versions through PC are pretty shit, though. I don't know if this is going to be slightly different or anything like that, but I've heard it's been kind of rubbish, so whatever. I mean, I'm not a Hitman person anyway, so I'll probably pass on this one.
Yeah, I'll say that when I was watching that trailer, the first thing I thought was, this looks like Hitman. I sort of feel like with the VR version, you can probably do some incredibly stupid stuff with it. Because I was just laughing when the person with the VR was just going around the corner with his gun and just going bang.
Just reach around and bang. That's pretty cool. I
was laughing at that. I thought that is quite funny because it's one thing you can't do in a
traditional
game is just put your gun around the corner and just shoot, hope for the best. Or just, I don't know, what was the other thing? Just put someone's poisonous food and watch him vomit and just go as your work.
Job from there. It's good.
Finish your job, yeah. Or just somehow try and push him off the edge or something. I don't know.
Hitman looks so cool. I just can't get into the actual playing of it. I don't think I have the temperament for it. I don't have the patience to kind of play the
Yeah, I know.
long
Yeah,
game.
it is. Yeah, it's one of those games you have to be very patient with. You can go the impatient route.
It doesn't
Sometimes it
usually end well.
doesn't end well. No, it's just a game of patience. So some people don't have
And I
the
don't think I have
patience
that
to do it.
lateral kind of level of creative thinking either in terms of, oh, if I do this, that's going to trigger these guards and that brings them into the room, which then means I can kind of lock it from behind them and then they're trapped in there and then I can do this and then this. And I just can't. It's why I'm not much good at chess either. I just can't play those multiple moves ahead. I'm not wired that way. I just address what is in front of me and
Oh, yeah.
what is in front of me. Oh, well, I could shoot this guy, but then I shoot that guy and everyone's onto me now. So, oh, shit. Yeah, I'll just go out with a blaze of glory. Next up is Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver getting both 1 and 2 getting a remaster. Now, we kind of learned about this. There was a statue at Comic-Con a couple months back at this point that kind of announced it mistakenly, and then once someone snapped a photo of it and put it online, that statue suddenly disappeared. The labeling kind of disappeared. Too late, the damage was done. Now it's official. And then even in this case, the PlayStation Store leaked it 12, 24 hours before the actual showcase.
Good on your PlayStation.
So well done, PlayStation. They screwed up their listing. I think they might have put AM instead of PM or something like that.
The old 24-hour time mix up.
Pretty much.
Oh, that old trick.
But what do you think? So a couple of PS1 gems being remastered. I was pretty impressed by the actual quality of the remaster. Now this is the same. I mean, this is Aspire, who were meant to be doing the KOTOR remake, but kind of seem to have been taken off that completely. They put out that remaster for Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 early in the year, which was very good. They're now doing the remaster of this, or these two games. Do you have any love for Legacy of Kain at all? Or any experience with it at all?
Never played it because I never owned a PS1
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
when I was a kid. I was a
Any interest in
64 kid. Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's coming out at a pretty decent time. Like, I think it's kind of December. I think it was December 10th or something like that as well. Certainly in that kind of first weekish of December.
Holidays. Oh, the holiday period.
So when everything else has kind of been and fired its shot, it then kind of comes out afterwards, which I think is a pretty good spot. So I can get right around this. I'm not sure I'm going to get into Fear the Spotlight, though. The PS1 era visuals and all that, like, I can get around that. That's fine. Crow Country did that earlier in the year, and that's a really good game as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just they haven't shown me the right things to kind of capture my interest. I've become more of a horror game fan in the last few years than I ever was before, but I don't know. It feels like it was missing something for me, and I can't really tell you what it was, but it felt like something was missing, and so I just couldn't get into it.
Was it frame rate? Was that missing?
Was the performance pretty poor? I can't remember that. But
possibly. I don't know. I just looked at it and went, is this meant to be PS1 like or what? Or are we going like very old visual Resident Evil style gaming?
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I'm saying I wasn't particularly sold on it. But yeah, that's just me. Like, I'm the same as you. I didn't really get into the survival horror games until I played Resident Evil 2. I thought, oh, is this what survival horror games are all about?
Like the remake of Resident Evil 2.
The remake, yeah. I was like, why have I not played survival horror games earlier? Then I realized why. I found them more scary.
Yeah, they're not great in that sense. I've only jumped on the bandwagon slightly. The only exception I made for years was Dead Space. I don't know why Dead Space seemed to work, but I made that exception for Dead Space. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I felt more powerful.
You're not in a mansion. Yeah, you're not in a mansion like every other horror game or a giant building. You're just in space.
Dead Space.
Dead Space.
More on that shortly because it's coming to PlayStation Plus. Next game is Towers of Agasba, which is very Animal Crossing-like in some respects. Definitely not in terms of its visuals. But it's kind of going for a similar sort of town, community building, and then working with all the locals to kind of improve things and blah, 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 blah. Looks kind of cool. It's coming out in early access, which PlayStation doesn't normally do. So this is clearly one they've kind of identified and partnered with a little bit to get that one going. But what do you think about it?
It was okay. I'm not into the farming games, but yeah, early access. I think they might have learned from previous games. Maybe trial it first before,
before going
people get
1.0 with it.
ahead before going full price with it. Give them a
Yeah,
taste.
pretty much. I think it's definitely a game I could get into, but I'm pretty. I mean, it's probably a good thing for them to go early access. For me, not personally. I tend not to worry about early access games until they're out and they've kind of had the opportunity to, straighten themselves up, fix up the things that are problems, rework areas that are no good. I don't want to be playing a game in one form that then is suddenly totally different once it hits 1.0. If I'm playing a specific demo, that's fine. Knowing that these things are subject to change, and we do it with indies all the time at PAXs and those sort of things. We know how games evolve. But this is like a thing that I can go out and buy and then have my experience and then have to do it again at some point, and maybe it's totally different. I'll wait. Next up, I think we can pretty quickly pass over Fortnite.
Next.
There's an abysmal controller that looks like you got a 6 or 7 year old to design it, and it's fucking atrocious. Throw it in the bin. But it's probably going to sell millions, which is awful. But yeah, let's move on from that.
It just hurts my eyes just looking at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get a...
We could all get ADD from looking at it.
No.
Because your eyes are just...
Can we?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't understand it. I just don't.
Everywhere you look, it's just awful. Next up, Dynasty Warriors Origins.
Did they show the back of it? I don't want to know, actually. Move on.
I think they did in the video, but let's move
on.
Dynasty Warriors Origins. You've been playing some Musos lately with Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors and all those sorts of things.
Yes.
What about the most traditional of Musos in Dynasty Warriors? Would you be interested? Did you like what you saw?
Yes. I'll play it.
Nice.
I want to play it. I'm sold. I don't care. I just saw the same style. I don't know. I thought, let's finally play an actual Warriors game. I'm not being harsh to Nintendo or anything, but let's be honest. If you're going to play the real Warriors games, play the real Warriors games.
See, for me, I started with the Warriors games, but then the real ones, like Dynasty Warriors. I think my first one was Dynasty Warriors 2 back on the PS2, and then I played 3, skipped a couple because the thing is they were very, very samey for a long, long time. Unsurprising considering even the ones that you would have played. It's pretty formulaic. But there's something about this one. I think maybe even in terms of how they're trying to lean into story and those sort of things, that they're going a little bit harder there. It has been now a long time since I've played a Dynasty Warriors game. I think there's a few stars aligning here, and they really do seem to be, even with the subtitle, the Origin subtitle, it feels like they're trying to hit reset on a few things. So I'm keen to get into it. Take on the likes of Lu Bu and Cao Cao and all those sorts of people again. It's gonna be great. All the way in for it, and it's like January 17th or something like that. So not a bad release date either.
Well, it's going to be a packed first quarter of the year. Next year.
So let's move on to the game that I think for both of us is probably the number one game in that first quarter. Monster Hunter Wilds, which we now know is launching on February 28th. I don't think there was much more that we really learnt from the trailer, but it's been a pretty typical sort of Monster Hunter trailer where they're really trying to dial up the epic scale and all this. That's fine. That's all I really needed. But the release date, I'm real stoked with that.
That's all I need to know. You didn't need to show me any more of the game. I'm already sold. I was sold on last year. Was it the Game Awards where it just had Monster Hunter Wilds? I was sold then. I didn't need to know any more.
This thing's going to be a huge game.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I'm not even talking about our personal things. I just mean World made this franchise explode. Rise was pretty huge, even though it was contained to the Switch. It's obviously not now, but Wilds could be out of this world, for want of a better, in terms of just how much oxygen it sucks out of the room, and that's dangerous for some of the games that are launching around there.
Oh yes.
As I'm sure you are now aware, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii has been announced.
That's actually a thing.
That's actually a thing. That's a legit thing.
Okay.
People have demoed it already. It's out the same day as Monster Hunter.
Well, I'll like to
2 weeks beforehand, you've got Assassin's Creed Shadows now that it's been delayed, and you've got Avowed for Xbox as well.
Oh dear.
Civilization is a week before that.
Oh no.
Kingdom Come Deliverance is the 11th as well. And I feel like every single one of those games could just be, because of how time consuming some of them are. Like I think about, well, actually, Kingdom Come's going to be a long game if that's what people are into. Civilization's a never-ending game technically. Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be big. Avowed is big. Like a Dragon is probably big because they've all been big. Like every single one of those games I mentioned are long games, and then people might just go, oh shit. Especially if you're a Monster Hunter fan as well, you might go, oh, I can't, because when Monster Hunter comes out, that's going to take over everything.
It's like 100+ hours. Take it up. If you're a big Monster Hunter fan, I should say.
Yeah.
You're going to take a lot of time in that game.
Like, my hope is that maybe I'll get access to one or two of those games a bit earlier again. The one I really want to play out of the lot is probably... out of those other games, I should say, is Avowed. So I'm hoping that Xbox can come through with the goods for that one and I can play it a little bit beforehand and get that one finished. Also think it's the one that's maybe the most vulnerable out of the lot. I'm wondering if maybe Xbox will delay that again. It's kind of sad for them. They were going to launch in November from all reports. They bailed on November because it was getting a little bit packed and they were a bit anxious about Assassin's Creed specifically. They delayed to February, and then Assassin's Creed gets delayed to February. And now November, it's not that bad, really.
So maybe, can they move it back?
I think it'd be too late.
Damn.
They could, but like I don't think it'd be a good marketing move, I think. Because now, I mean, I'm looking at the November list, and admittedly this is just the games that I'm interested in, but you've got Mario and Luigi Brothership. They're not really competing in the same space. Metro Awakening is VR2 or VR, so that's not a big deal. Behemoth is VR. Lego Horizon Adventures comes out. Dragon Quest 3 Remake comes out. Stalker 2 comes out. Like Lego, Dragon Quest, and and Stalker, they're the three. And I think Avowed could be the biggest game of the lot of those. But it's too late now. So good luck to them. But that's just a little side effect of it. And I think Monster Hunter is the thing that's almost like the GTA dropping in the space. You go, oh shit.
Oh yeah. But what would you want to go up against, Monster Hunter or GTA?
Oh, you'd rather go against Monster Hunter than GTA, but like it's not far off in terms of the community who's going to be keen on those other games. Monster Hunter is going to be a game they're going to be, at least a large chunk of them are going to be interested in as well, and that drops in there and you go, oh fuck. Some of these games are now going to get missed because of, maybe not all, but some of them you're going to have to go, I can't play all of these, not with Monster Hunter at the end. So maybe I cut Like a Dragon, or maybe I cut Assassin's Creed, or maybe I cut Kingdom Come, Kingdom Come would be a bad one for them to cop a loss, because that's it. Kind of an indie team at the end of the day, working with Embracer Group, and I'd hate for them to fail financially, because if they fail financially because of this, Embracer probably kills them. Anyway, that's the whole thing. Monster Hunter though, looking awesome. Can't wait. Any other thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds?
Just hurry up, February. I want it now. Give me it. Give me take my money now.
I'm hoping that maybe Capcom, because it's like there's been demos, like that TGS demo has been playable in the US. There was a whole bunch of people that went and played it there. Last year we had a bit of Capcom representation at PAX, just a very, very small amount. But I'm hoping maybe 5-Star, who kind of works with them and handles a lot of their stuff these days, maybe that demo can be available. That'd be really cool.
Well, maybe it'd be like
I might send an email actually tomorrow, come to think of it, just to ask questions.
Yeah, or maybe like many years ago, this is, I'm trying to think, maybe 2018, 2019 PAX, where there was Darksiders 3 was on one laptop in the entire...
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't anywhere else. It was just on one laptop in I don't know what it was, like a Laverno sort of display.
It was like a Lenovo booth, and
because you pointed it out, you said, oh, there's a Darksiders 3's on a laptop over there. I was like, really? So I went at it, look, it's like, oh, it is too. Like no one's paying attention. There's no line, no nothing. This was before it even came out. It's just sitting there on a laptop and no one's paying attention to it. Hopefully they didn't do that like this.
It was an insane decision. I didn't get it. The next game is one of those games from November that we were just talking about, Lego Horizon Adventures. I'll bundle this in with the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster as well. Get the two of those going at the same time. We discussed this on the show. I thought when it comes to the Zero Dawn remaster, I thought when they announced Lego Horizon that must have been the remake that everyone was thinking of. And then they announced a remaster anyway.
Double jokes.
And then they've gone and dropped the remaster before Lego Horizon comes out, but they've dropped the remaster on the same day as Dragon Age. So if you want to go history, if you want to go the history of Horizon Zero Dawn originally went head to head with Breath of the Wild and got smacked.
Bad idea.
Great
Bad
game,
idea.
amazing game,
Yeah.
got smacked. Horizon Forbidden West went head to head with Elden Ring. Again,
Bad
brilliant
idea.
game, got smacked. And now they go, okay, so we've in PlayStation, we're looking at all of our lineup of games. We already know that Dragon Age is coming out October 31st. When are we going to put out? Let's go the same date. Fucking idiots, dead set. And I get they're probably not expecting too many brand new sales here. I think they're all just banking on people like myself who'll pay it's $10, so I don't know, maybe 15 for us, but the $10 to $15 upgrade.
I was going to say, if you're going off the PS5 Pro, I was going to say 35.
Well,
no, I don't think so. It'll be 50. I think
it'll be 15. It's definitely a $10 upgrade US, so I'd imagine that ends up being about 15 for us. So yeah, a $15 upgrade, it's a pretty small price to ask people to pay. I think that breaks the back of a lot of the concerns that people had, that we'd had, even when we discussed on the show in the past. I think a lot of that kind of goes away because it's such a small asking price. And what they're doing with that $15 is pretty impressive. It does look like, the Aloy model now just straight up looks like what she does in Forbidden West. They've redone hours of mocap and acting and those sorts of things. There's going to be undoubted gameplay tweaks and those sort of things. I'm good for all of that stuff. There would have been a better time to launch this than what they've chosen.
There's 364 other days of the year you could have picked, and you decided to put it on the same.
You could have got November. It's empty. It's available.
Yeah,
sorry, they have, I guess, because there's Horizon Lego Adventures. But
November 31st. What's happened on November 31st? I'd probably don't put it on November 31st. It's not a date.
30 days.
Put it on the 30th.
I was going to say it's not a thing, but November 30 or that sort of week, that would have been a great time for it. Actually, just looking at the thing, it's about 10 days removed from Stalker 2. You've got a week to yourself. That was it, and nothing else. Indiana Jones comes after it a couple of weeks after that, but I think you can manage that. You can be a PS5 exclusive going head to head against an Xbox exclusive. Not a big deal. You're not going against Elden Ring. You're not going against Dragon Age. You're not going against Zelda. They did it again.
So let me just get this straight. So it got released those. So does that mean Dragon Age is going to win Game of the Year?
Yes, it has to.
Because
that's just how it goes.
Elden Ring won Game of the Year. Zelda
Breath of the Wild did.
Game of the Year. So yeah, I think we've figured out what our Game of the Year is going to be this year.
Yeah.
Dragon Age. Okay, I'll put my money on Dragon Age. I'm going to buy it, pre-order it.
Why doesn't?
Wait, well, if I'm pre-ordering,
Sportsbet needs to have a little Game Awards betting thing.
What? So what? How many times are people going to get told to wrap it up?
Well, that and even just putting money on Game of the Year. Why not? They allow you to bet on flies crawling up a wall these days. So.
Or how long Oasis's tour is going to last? There was a bet on.
Was there really? That's awesome. The other half of the announcement is, of course, the Lego Horizon Adventures one. This trailer was awful. I couldn't stand that trailer. I don't know. It was kind of pitched for kids.
That's what it felt like. I thought I'd rather watch Toy Story.
Yeah.
Or Lego Batman, the movie. That's not good.
I'm really going to enjoy Lego Horizon Adventures, but this was...
It was a bad trailer.
It was a bad trailer. You could have put that just up on the YouTube at some point and then had the YouTubes, and had I guess a more traditional sort of trailer for the actual state of play, and that would have worked a lot better. They dropped the release date, but that kind of leaked. I don't even know how it leaked now, because everyone was reporting like it was brand new news, but I already had it in my little notes page, and I've had it in my notes page on my phone for a few weeks now. So I don't know where I heard the release date from, but anyway, I think I even mentioned it on the show.
I think you did.
The November 14th release date. So I don't know where I got my facts from, but it was on the money, which was nice. Next up, we mentioned Stellar Blade before. Stellar Blade's got some DLC coming. It's partnering up with Square Enix and Nier Automata, which there was a lot of back and forth between the heads of Nier, that franchise, and then the Stellar Blade team. The Stellar Blade team took a lot of inspiration from Nier, and now they're collaborating. Great, sure, no worries. I did find it interesting that they led this whole segment with, "Hey, photo mode. because all you fucking perverts are gonna want to start upskirting. What's her name?
The main character.
Eve.
But even now with like, oh, look at the new physical.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Jiggles like, oh Jesus Christ!
Because now, as she like reaches across herself, her boob gets pushed. It doesn't just like, oh my god. We don't need to be doing this.
Play the damn game.
Exactly.
Morons.
There was a PlayStation Plus update. So they announced a few games that were coming out, like in the Essential tier in WWE 2K24 and Doki Doki Literature Club. I didn't really care about either of those. Dead Space, though, as I touched on, is a big win. That's
the remaster?
Yes, the 2023 remake. Yeah. And then that's on top of the fact that obviously we learnt that Dino Crisis and Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, so the original Legacy of Kain game, before even these remakes or these remastered Soul Reaver games, they're going to be coming to the premium tier sometime soon. I don't know if it's going to be what's the date now? I don't know if that's going to be in the October update, which would be 2 weeks away, or whether maybe it's a November one. But they've announced that they're coming in. Obviously, there's a lot of love for all things Legacy of Kain, but Dino Crisis is a cool thing because people have been screaming for Dino Crisis of any sort.
And also, The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, and for The Last of Us Day, Last of Us Part 1 is going.
Why is it called Last of Us Days? Is that because that's the day it was released?
No, because it was originally called Outbreak Day, which was then the day that was the date that the outbreak began in the game. But then during the pandemic time, they decided to stop calling it Outbreak because they were worried that people were going to get a bit. Anyway, people were a bit precious or something like that. So it's now The Last of Us Day, and I hope that at some point it goes back to Outbreak Day because Outbreak Day was a cool name.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, these days whenever they have State of Play, they have the obligatory PlayStation Plus update. They did it again. I was getting a bit worried though at this point because they went PS Plus update. They then announced some chroma colored controllers and panels for your PlayStation. Thought, oh, okay, we're starting to just throw a bunch of shit at the wall here. And then the PS5 Pro was next.
Yeah, we're falling apart here.
I'm like, oh shit, the wheels are falling off at the end. I'd really enjoyed the showcase up to this point, but it's starting to get a bit wobbly here. I mean, they got Mark Cerny to come out and talk about the PS5 Pro, so his voice was soothing souls everywhere. But like
talking about the big three again, I was like, oh come on, Mark, I've already heard all this.
Yeah,
I don't care about your GPU, ray tracing, and AI imaging. See,
how about you just make enough copies of your classic controls, and then make sure your retailers don't fuck up the whole experience. So you can
or how about you make a PS1 Pro?
PS1 Pro.
Yeah. Why not? You're making pros for everything else. Why not just make a PS1 Pro?
Yeah, why not? So we got through all of those, and then we had our closing game, Ghost of Yotai. So we're getting a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima finally. Well, it's not really a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, but another game in that franchise. Ghost is clearly the actual franchise at this point. It's set many years after, like generations after Jin. Totally different location. There's a whole historical context behind the whole thing. You'll notice in the trailer there was guns, so we've kind of advanced technologically a little bit here. There's a bit going on. Jeez, I've got some like gnats and shit flying around. Let me just bug zap shit out of these little pricks. Anyway, yeah, I don't care. Come on, have a crack.
Zap it in. Oh dear.
Anyway, I'll burn the shed down. Anyway, what do you think about Ghost?
Well, to start off with, I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I just thought wasn't no 3 green lights, but that's fine. And then this trailer came along. I was like, oh, what's this? There was also some samurai stuff. I thought, and then I thought to myself, it's about bloody time you've brought out the ghost of whatever it was out, because for the first time in like 3 showcases or state of plays, 0 multiplayer games, which I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
And they finally gave us the trailer that we've been asking for well over a year.
12 months, yeah.
12 months. And yeah, we didn't see much, but I'm just happy to know it's coming next year. That's all I need to know.
That's awesome. Is that bad news for Assassin's Creed now that it's been delayed into next year as well? I know they're not going to probably launch near each other. I'd imagine this is like a late 2025 sort of game,
I sort of feel
alongside
like,
Death Stranding 2 and GTA.
yeah,
So just there's the back end of the year that's already terrifying.
or maybe that's the reason why they delayed it. Thought, oh shit, we better make this game good.
That could be a good point as well. Yeah, like we don't want to release half-assed and then have Ghost come along and basically just destroy us after that.
Because I think, being that also Star Wars Outlaws didn't sell too well, or below expectations, we should say, they probably just went and thought, let's make this game good. Or
That's a good
great,
point.
I should say, because they don't want another, what I would call Ubisoft, to have another underwhelming game. Which
They don't
they've
want to
sort
flop.
of, which they've sort of done for the last, I don't know about Avatar, but Mirage wasn't the best.
Avatar wasn't great.
Avatar wasn't great. Outlaws was either you
This
liked
close
it or
to
you,
amazing from all reports.
So it's one of those games you either liked it or you hated it. There's no middle ground for that games, and I think they're just going to take their time on Assassin's Creed, or until February, obviously, to get it right.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, if you're going to PAX to play Shadows,
not anymore.
bad luck. Go play Outlaws instead.
Yeah, go play some indies. You'll have a
Or
great
that
time.
too.
Or
go
sit and look
hang
at a
out.
screen that it's inevitably going to have it on there, and you can watch a trailer.
Or go hang out with the loser Bethesda and Blizzard people outside.
Come join us for co-op drinks on Friday night.
Or do that.
Be good times.
Or 4:30 Saturday in one of the theaters.
Yes. I really need to start like coordinating and planning with my team for that.
Yes.
Shit, we're 2 weeks away.
Oh dear, we are too.
Oh my
less
God.
than 2 weeks. We're less than 2 weeks.
Ooh.
As of Tuesday, what are we? Oh man, we're like 10 days almost.
Yeah.
10 days. Oh dear. Not
It's
oh
getting
dear for
real
me.
close. It's good.
For you. Oh dear. But hey. But goes to, what's the actual word? Because I was scared
Yotai.
to,
I believe it's
Yotai.
yotai. A bit
Yotai.
like how the Japanese say yokai, like that yokai watch, or like their ghosts. I
Yeah.
believe it's like that. I could be wrong
Yeah.
though, because everyone was
No.
saying Ghost of Tsushima rather than Tsushima, as it turns out it's actually
Yeah.
pronounced.
Because I think that's the one thing. Because usually when they show a trailer like this, they'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah,
But they didn't. And I was like, I don't know how to pronounce that, and I'm scared to pronounce it because people are going to yell at me and go, "You said it wrong," and all this stuff. Because
You're a
people
racist
are
piece of
dickish.
shit. Yeah.
You're racist bastards. Like, hey, I don't speak Japanese or understand the Japanese language except for sake and asahi, which I don't think
Beer
you know.
brand. Yeah.
Or just barely alcoholic beverages. Sure, I'll know them. Or I don't think teriyaki's a Japanese thing.
Teppanyaki is though.
Oh, teppanyaki. There we go. No, I've got to
Um,
get off food and beer. But yes,
Good topics.
I'm
though.
excited for it. 2025. Just when? Probably you would think somewhere around the end of the year. I don't think. It all depends on when GTA 6 comes out.
And they'll
That's-
know. They'll know when
They'll
that's
know.
like targeting.
Yeah, so when they don't find that out, they'll just go, right, bang, that's our
Yeah.
date.
Yeah, they'll know the window they're aiming for, and of course, yeah, another big one, as I mentioned before, is Death Stranding 2. That's probably on track for the back end of next year. And PlayStation is like that's exclusive to PlayStation. They're working with Kojima on it, so I'm sure they have a rough sense for when that's coming as well. So they can probably get a bit strategic about their release dates. And now that the game's kind of got a profile thanks to the original game, they probably don't have to freak out as much. They'll probably let the game do the talking, because everyone was concerned before, like with the original game, that it was coming out like a month and a half after The Last of Us Part 2. They thought, oh, here we go, all the marketing dollars are going to that, no one's going to care about Ghost. People love Ghost. I don't know sales, but I actually believe that maybe Ghost might have sold more copies than Last of Us Part 2. So,
That doesn't surprise me,
yeah,
because it's a good game.
it's a good game. And Last of Us had a bit of controversy, so...
Oh, part 2, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, no. They say, yeah, people get upset about certain main characters of Ghost of Yotai because
Let me
they're
check to see if I
morons.
can find the sales. It had sold over 13 units, 13, not 13,
13
over
units.
13, over 13 million
13
units
units.
by September 2024. the believed or approximated kind of split is about 10 million on PlayStation, 3 million on PC. The Last of Us Part 2.
The Game of the Year winner.
When is this
Oh dear.
by? Oh no, I just want to make sure I've got my the dates. They're saying the report is I've got 10 million by the end of 2022. So they've had
so
two.
probably
They've had
more.
another 2 years, and they put out a remaster recently. So
You would also think too, being that there was a TV show out in 2022.
and that too. Yeah,
Yeah. Last year or this year? Was it last year?
last year.
So you would probably think there'd be more sales on top of that. You would
Yeah.
think.
So yeah, I'd imagine Last of Us Part 2 is probably in front, but it's pretty close, and it's the debut entry going up against the most acclaimed franchise that PlayStation has in The Last of Us. So
Yeah.
it's a really good effort, and this one is probably going to do even better again. So good on Sucker Punch. Good luck to Sucker Punch. Hopefully it goes well. We better move on to our Xbox TGS presentation, which will be a lot quicker. But before we get out of the PlayStation State of Play, give me a score out of 10 for the PlayStation State of Play.
Well, I would say compared to their last, I'd say 3, 4 state of plays / showcases, they've been, I would say, very below average. Incredibly below average.
Yeah.
If I had to give this a rating, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. It was quite a good presentation.
For me, I'm just on the 9 side, but that's, I think, because I'm probably, if I'm being probably honest with myself, it's probably an 8, but because there's quite a few things there that are very Paul focused, even down to oh hey, we're remastering this niche Japanese RPG that hasn't been seen now since the PS1, and I just happen to be holy shit, that's amazing.
It's a JRPG. Oh my god.
A specific one that I love and know, though, Legacy Kane and that sort of thing, and they just Monster Hunter Wilds, Horizon. I'll go and play Zero Dawn's remaster. I'll probably actually go and chase down the platinum for Zero Dawn initially, so that I can then ping all the trophies on the.
No, I was laughing at something else because there's this one person that sort of has a pretend leak of what the state of play comes out of. It's mainly just Bloodborne,
Bloodborne cart, and all those sorts of fun
Bloodborne card. And then there was one with Horizon. It was Horizon 0, and then Horizon 01, then Horizon 012. And I just laughed at it because I thought it was just stupid.
Get around it.
Plus with the whole Bloodborne stuff, like the last of Bloodborne, and any PlayStation game just gets turned into Bloodborne.
It's true.
I just find it funny, and people still upset that there's no Bloodborne. But it is interesting.
It is crazy though that we don't have Bloodborne of any sort.
I know. It's also different too because they've taken a very different direction compared to their last few state of plays. Because everything was hey, multiplayer games, this is what we're doing. You're going to play them. And everyone's just went, no, we're not. We don't want your silly multiplayer game. We want story games.
Look, people might be just a bit spooked off the back of... PlayStation might be a bit spooked off the back of
I think it's also that too, just to make sure everyone forgets about the whole Concord thing and their PC sales not doing great because of making people be forced to have a PlayStation profile ID, and no, everyone just said, no thanks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Give back my money.
All right, let's shift over to the Xbox TGS thing, which we'll be able to breeze through a lot faster because, again, a bit like some of the segments from ours, there's a lot of Japanese RPGs in here. And also a lot of games that are just already available elsewhere that now are coming to Xbox as well. So we can kind of knock through them fairly quickly. One game that doesn't fit that bill, though, is... And sorry, I don't know if actually these are in order because even I haven't actually watched the presentation. I've just seen the various different trailers and announcements.
I can tell you if it's...
Was Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater?
That was the first one.
Yeah, cool.
That was first. Well, I like to call it Metal Gear Solid Triangle.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it looks good. Looks great. Nice. I'm trying to think what Metal Gear games I played. I've played 1, 2, then I stopped. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if I'll play it or not. It just
this
depends
is the first one in the actual timeline, though.
Yeah, so. It's one of the most confusing timelines I've ever tried to understand.
That's a Kojima game for you.
Now, I mean, someone else will try to figure like, what's the actual order of this? And then we'll look at it. There's like Metal Gear Solid 3's first, then it goes 4, then this, then that. It's not actually 4. 4's a lot later because Snake's. And then you ask the
He's
question.
called Old Snake in that. He's like,
And then
that's
and
like
then
the
you
last
ask
game.
the question, which snake is it? Because there's about 17,000 different varieties of snake. And he's like, is it liquid? Is it solid? Is it
I don't
mush?
even
I
understand
don't understand half of it. It's
the
like, is it
difference either.
snake or is it
Is it
regular
still the same
snake?
person, or do they just rebrand him? Like, I don't know any of that.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. It was one of the most confusing timelines, just like its game itself. Couldn't understand, so I just gave up looking into it. But yeah,
I'm
it looks good.
I'm keen, and especially because I've not played any of them before, and this is the first game like in sequential, like chronological order. I'm keen to jump in on this one. I don't think we have a date yet. They didn't announce a date during this
Don't think so,
showcase,
no.
and I think with Silent Hill still to come, they're probably not going to announce anything until at least Silent Hill 2 has come out. Maybe it's a Game Awards reveal.
High possibility, I reckon.
Has Metal Gear Delta been at the Game Awards or like a Jeff job since it's been revealed? Because remember, Jeff made all those comments about Konami after the Kojima thing.
I'm trying to think because I know we got a trailer just Snake in the water. I don't know if that was PlayStation State of Play or not. I feel like it was PlayStation State of Play or Xbox.
I'm gonna
I don't
have to
even know.
like fact check that as we go. But
This is almost as confusing trying to figure out the timeline of this Metal Gear games. Was it Xbox?
where
Was
have
it a
all the
game
trailers
show?
come
Was
from?
it
Who
this?
did, yeah,
Was it that? I don't know.
the
I,
game?
I'm gonna say a State of Play from last year, late last year. That's my guess. But I don't know.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. I'm not
I'm
gonna
gonna
be able to
say
find it. I'm not
I'm
gonna be
gonna
able to
say
find it easily.
PlayStation.
My gut says it hasn't been at a Jeff thing, but it's not to say that it won't. So we'll see. All right. Well, next up, and again, sorry, I don't know if this is in order, but Overwatch 2's My Hero Academia crossover. Um, couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less about Overwatch. Carry on.
It's coming October 17th, though. Great for those weebs. Next up, Age of Mythology Retold Immortal Pillars. So it's the first expansion for the game. It's going to be, well, players can earn the favor of 12 new gods. Yeah, 12 of them, a whole bunch based on Chinese legend and a range of other different eras as well. I mean, I really enjoyed going back to Age of Mythology when it came out recently. Matt Houston was playing it on PC. I was playing it on Xbox. We were both pretty positive, despite especially for myself playing on Xbox with a controller and not the
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised
mouse and
because
keyboard.
I'm not the biggest
pretty
fan.
good.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those type of games on a controller. But if it works,
It's definitely not as good. There's no substitute for the mouse and keyboard, but it was pretty solid. I could get around it. StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 are coming to PC Game Pass, and there's also been some reporting this week, separate to this, that apparently Blizzard is looking at going back to the old StarCraft shooter idea. Remember the old StarCraft Ghost they announced years and years ago and never became a thing, and they've tried other things. It sounds like they might be having another crack at that idea again, and of course,
no Bob.
No Bob.
Here we go.
But also, you've got so many shooter experts. Like, there's no excuse for anyone that's associated with Blizzard, Bethesda, Xbox not being able to put together a shooter because you've got people responsible for Call of Duty, for Halo, Gears, so many like acclaimed Doom. Sorry, if I think about the Bethesda side, Wolfenstein. Like, you've got all of the talent in the family. There's no excuse for not being able to compile a good shooter these days. So surely, if that's true, surely that gets up. That wasn't part of this TGS thing, but it's a rumor that's been going on the side. And those two remasters and StarCraft 2 will be coming to PC Game Pass on November 5th. Tanuki, little indie title, BMXing mailman raccoon dog.
Wrote it, yeah, raccoon dog.
Oh
man,
I don't know.
I watched it. I was half confused. I thought, what the hell is going on here?
I was a bit confused by this the whole time as well. So, don't have much to say there. Whereas the next game, you will have very little, I'd imagine, to say about this one. Am I going in sequential order at the moment? Is this all above board at the moment?
It sounds right. Yeah.
Good on
I think
you.
if the mana games are, the last thing, then yeah, it's in order. Because the mana games were the last thing that they showed.
Yep. Cool. I'm working with something that's in order. That's handy. So now I scroll back. Threads of Time. looks to be an unreal JRPG, like classic inspired JRPG. Like there's the Chrono Trigger elements. There's a whole bunch of different cool things that just tick all the right boxes for me. I am super keen on this one. In the same sort of way that I was. Oh shit, the game's escaping me now, and that annoys me because I adored it. It was one of my favorite games of last year, but I need to scroll through my trophies just to find it so I can jog my memory because it's not going to come to me otherwise. There's DLC that was recently in it, Sea of Stars. It kind of hits that, like, ticks all those same sort of nostalgic boxes that Sea of Stars did. So keen to check that one out, but we'll see. We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. I have no time or interest in any of those games, so I was pretty happy to pass on that. And based on that shake of the head, you're the same. Metaphor Refantasio, it's like a couple of weeks away. They basically used the opportunity to announce a demo that is about 3-4 hours long from what I've heard. A lot of people have gone out and played it. Early reporting is the game is just as long as like a Persona game, so enjoy losing 100 hours of your life to that one, people. Hopefully you do enjoy, though. The Atelier franchise is coming to Xbox. Atelier, Yumiya, The Alchemist of Memories, and The Envisioned Land. Awful name. Far too long. March 21st release date. It's coming to Xbox.
I just say no. Anything with a long name is just no.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like some exception that I need to make, but right now I'm not thinking of one. So yeah, fuck the long name games. Bleach Rebirth of Souls. I mentioned Weebs before. My point still stands. I've got nothing here to add when it comes to Bleach. I don't know about you.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
That's
enjoy anime fans. Synduality Echo of Ada, which I didn't realize there was a subtitle for it. It's a Bandai Namco job though. There's been a few of the horribly named CNTs, the closed network tests that Bandai Namco likes to have.
Oh jeez, I say that's one letter away from disaster.
When they first sent me a CNT for Elden Ring back before the 2022 launch, I was already intimidated by the fact that that it was Elden Ring, let alone the fact that they were calling me horrendous names in the process. Like it was a rough time. But that's coming out January 24th. There'll be more opportunities for people to test that one, I suspect. It's a PvE like extraction shooter. So I don't know. In this multiplayer realm that we're in, if they get it all right, it could be huge. If they don't, it probably fizzles out pretty quickly. Fallout 76 is getting pets. Great.
Well, there was one thing. There was one thing with that Fallout 76. They were showing all the designs that people created for their towns and that. I was slightly disappointed that no one took a picture of Phil Spencer's nude. That's true. That would have been gold if that was the case, but no, they did not. I thought that's disappointing.
The bombed out husk of his
you see these like well-designed towns and all these, like, oh, that's really cool. Just
a little sign nice, or a little arrow that points to Phil's house.
This is one picture of just this crater of, but no.
They need to lean into that. It's so good. Suikoden Remaster, which we already knew had a March 6th release date, that turned up. Nothing really to see here. They're just tapping on the Konami audience. All You Need Is Help, which is out on Game Pass now. It's a co-op puzzle game designed to be played with your friends, and it's out today, Game Pass on Xbox Series, Xbox One and PC. 4-player co-op game that supports local and online multiplayer, allowing players to connect regardless of their console cross-platform support. Yeah, okay, sure. It doesn't really, the description here doesn't talk about the game. It's got a nice visual style from from what we see, but I don't know. I'm probably not rushing out to go play it though.
Hard pass for me.
We were talking about Silent Hill before. Slitterhead, the horrifically named game that just sounds like a slur, calling someone a slitterhead. Didn't realize it had a release date. I must have missed that in the actual reveal in the first case. But November 8th. This does come from ex Silent Hill developers, so there's a pedigree there. But from people who've gone hands on and seen trailers and those sort of things in the past, it didn't present super well. So we'll see. The Starbites, sci-fi turn-based RPG set in the desert land of Bitter, and I'm not going to read anymore. Classic RPG styles. I don't know. I'll wait and see. Whatever. A JRPG that maybe you might get into though, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D.
Possibly. Unsure yet.
Did drop the maybe on it, but Xbox just kind of doubling up and like, hey, we're getting JRPGs, we're getting things that PlayStation and Nintendo are getting. Don't forget about us. The game is not going to sell on Xbox. But it's important, like if you are trying to crack the Japanese market, Dragon Quest is the big dog. For us, like in the West, it's Final Fantasy. In Japan, it's Dragon Quest. So you need to be there, and good on Xbox for being there, ready to go day and date. So I can't remember if it's, nothing says Game Pass at all, but
I think so. No.
The Final Fantasy Pixel remasters 1 through 6 that people were kind of confused to why never launched on Xbox in the first place are now coming to Xbox. The physical retail version of that comes out for PlayStation and Switch soon at $115 Aussie dollars.
But that's for 6 games, isn't it?
There was for 6 like classic RPGs. The price is not that bad when you think about it, but like they've made all their money already. They're just double dipping. There was a very limited supply physically in the first place, and it wasn't available to the likes of Australia unless you had like an EU account and different abilities to kind of pull things across. So they've done a second run that are kind of coming out for retail now. $115 is a big amount, but whatever. I'm buying it because I want it physical. And then finally, you mentioned it before, the Mana games. They will last. Legend of Mana, Trials of Mana, and the Collection of Mana, which includes the original Trials of Mana as well as Secret of Mana and Adventures, like a whole bunch of stuff. That's out on Game Pass now as a result, sitting alongside the recent release of Visions, which is not on Xbox. Wait, is it? I can't remember now.
Or is it? Because I can't remember.
No, it is. No, sorry, no, it is, because it was part of the developer underscore direct at the beginning of the year.
It was one of the Mana games. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it was Visions, because that was the upcoming one at the time. So Xbox is like trying to work with Square Enix on Mana for some reason. They're trying to make that a bit more of a thing, but it's probably because it's of a lot of their franchises, it's among the smaller ones, so they can try and get a win by getting them all on Game Pass. Anyway, good luck to them there. Any other thoughts on all things Xbox at TGS?
I think the one thing I'm not really sold on, that I don't trust, is them talking about we've got more Xbox players than ever before in Japan, and I'm thinking, do I trust that stat compared to your previous statistics and stats that you have lied about in the past?
I'll say yes, because you can go from 5 players to 6 players.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. What I was thinking. I thought there's probably going, we've improved from 1 player to 2. I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, yeah, that's an improvement. I'll give you on that one. But yeah, it's sort of hard to believe anything that comes out of any of their mouths these days from everything else they've said. Like, we're going to do this, and that, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, I'll believe him, but like, yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it tells anyone much. But anyway, look, it was, even for me, it was solid. A lot of these games are already available elsewhere, so I didn't. There was no major pops outside of like Threads of Time along the way. That genuinely looks fantastic. But we'll just have to wait on that, and the rest is pretty much all stuff that we could obviously potentially already play, or will get opportunities to play on other platforms, and they're not getting the Game Pass exclusivity. So what's the rush? Like, yeah, it's a strange one. But good on them. They're chasing the Japanese market. They're trying to address that that community even in the West more. Try and find reasons for those sorts of players to not go to their PlayStations or not go to their Switches or whatever it is. So I guess good luck, but for me it's like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going to say 6 only because I would say well over half those games I did not care about. Yeah. Just because they're JRPGs. It's not really...
It's not that they're bad, they're just not for you.
They're not bad, they're just not for me. That's it. Like, I can understand why they've gone the JRPG route for Tokyo Game Show, because...
Makes sense.
That's the people they're trying to convince here, not me.
Look, I think they could have gone more diverse with the types of games, though. There's still plenty of stuff that comes out of Japan that is not a JRPG. And that kind of was proven with Slitterhead being there, with Metal Gear being there. Like, they had... there are plenty of other types of games that exist that come out of Japan. Even the Katamari stuff, as much as that wouldn't have interested me, and be like, oh, cool, it's not a JRPG. They're reminding people that there are other games that come out of this country, even if they got some Japanese indies. There was more they could have done and didn't. But whatever. I mean, I am a JRPG guy, so like, I'm not going to object. But I also wasn't compelled to play them on Xbox because I can already get them elsewhere, or already have them elsewhere. Keep trying, Phil. All right. Well, we'll wrap things up there then, because we've gone over an hour at this point talking about those two presentations.
Mainly PlayStation.
Mainly PlayStation, to be fair. It's about a 90-10 sort of split. But if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. It'll get you access to a whole bunch of other content on the channel, patched, Player 2 plays, and more. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, news, features, opinion pieces, much more. Links to the podcast series, Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. Dev Diary goes live this Thursday for the first time in months, so go check that one out. We're on Patreon. Subscribe, early access, the higher tiers, monthly exclusive. I don't know. I think I'm having a stroke right now.
Was I saying you okay?
The high tiers, early access, lower tiers, monthly exclusives. I think I've got them completely reversed. Anyway, finally, there's Twitter. Matto.
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. And until next time, I'll see you later.